Gets the white. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
This game's going to be a war crime. It will be a war crime.
Jones backpedaling.
Go!
Fires downfield.
Because it's going to be two inept offenses that even the USFL would find a very poor taste. You know,
Yep.
Our punishment is going to be severe. Our spirits are going to be broken in this game. The only way we're going to be celebrating is if we win. Either we're winning and we're celebrating and we realise, oh no, we've fallen down the board, or we're upset, we've lost again, but then we realise we're still in the Khalid Williams, we're still in the Drake May, we're still in the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes. So it's called pick your poison with this team now. It's pick your poison. If this goes into OT, I think Israel should just nuke the stadium for the greater good.
Good. Wide to the left. You blew it!
Still, could be worse.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
Oh, I'm going to need a lot more where this is going to be coming from. This is, I don't know. Welcome everyone to the greatest shit show in the world. It is the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It's me, your boy Karl. Joining me to the left is Nick Cosgrove, as always. DJ and Luke, unfortunately, can't be available tonight. And I'm lost for words, Nick, because I don't know. I said this would be the Giants game. I said this would be an absolute war crime. It would be terrible. It would be shocking. The Patriots this week just turned around and said, hold our beer. And they go and do that. 6-0. A defeat to the Chargers. One of the worst ranked defense in the NFL. And that is not mincing my words here. That is a genuine fact. The Chargers are the worst defense in the NFL, and they shut us out at home. Absolutely embarrassing. Before we try to dissect what the hell happened in that game, make sure you smash the like on the video, hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and you can follow us on Spotify as well. Nick, good to see you, sir. Hope you are well. I mean, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start with this absolute glorified mess?
Do you remember in Star Wars when Carrie Fisher, when Princess Leia's there and she's on the recording and she says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." I was there at City on Sunday, as was Tom Brady. And he was on the other side of the stadium. I didn't know where he was sat, and he don't know me. I don't know him. But I'm there thinking, shall I shout, "Help us, Tom Brady! You're the only one that can help us." I don't think even he could help us out of this shit show. Oh God. I mean, I watched that game on a delay. Why did I even bother? I mean. Again, I was at City Tottenham, so I came back in a foul mood anyway. It's like, you know what, I'm going to watch the Patriots to make myself feel better. Yeah, that was a great idea. So, the 40-minute highlight package I put myself through. I must have missed the highlights and just got 40 minutes of crap. Oh God, it was terrible. I mean, if you're a member of that New England defense, you must be pig sick, absolutely pig sick with the offense. I mean, there's having a bad game, there's being genuinely bad, and then there's just being completely and utterly inept at every single level. I text our group on Monday and I said, if you give me a shot glass, I reckon I can go glass half full. And that is really scraping the barrel. Anything bigger than a shot glass, and I can't even, no, not a chance. It's terrible. I mean, we haven't seen an offence this bad since the Rod Russ year in 1990. And he only lasted a year and he was out. And, his offence was that bad. It was worse than this one.
It's our worst start to any season since 1993. That year, at that time, at this specific junction, we was 1-11. Yes, it did lead us to the first overall pick, and yes, it led us to Drew Bledsoe, but that also led to Bill Parcells taking over as well. So, but Bill Parcells ain't walking through the door anytime soon. As you said, Tom Brady isn't going to walk through this door anytime soon. A lot of people were saying Zappe coming in, he might be able to move the offense, move the needle a little bit. I've been listening to a lot of the Patriots podcasts all throughout this week, okay? And there's a couple of them that have turned around and said that Zappe actually made the offense slightly more improved. The box score tells you all you need to know about that game. Now, I don't care that apparently Zappe improved the offense. That offense is the running game, and that is it. And now Ramondre Stevenson is going to be out of a high ankle sprain now for at least a few weeks. But the way we're going about it right now, I'd rather just ice him. Just give all of the bulk down to Ezekiel Elliott. The offense is inept. It's not good enough. Talent devoided. The quarterback situation is a mess. I think the last game against the Giants was the last we saw Mac Jones. I don't think we're going to be seeing him again anytime soon. And if he does, now you're just playing with his emotions.
He was listed as the third choice emergency quarterback on Sunday. So they would have literally, to see Mac Jones play anything on Sunday, Zappe would have had to be injured, and Cunningham would have had to be injured and unable to play to see Mac Jones. Excuse me. Just going back to what you said about some podcasts saying about Zappe showing some offense improvement. I get what you say about the box scores, and if you look at Zappe's second half, stats wise, he did. If you compare him to the Mac Jones that we saw in Frankfurt or the Mac Jones that faced the Giants, stats-wise, player for player, Zappe in the second half was better. That's not much to crow about. But again, I'm picking at anything I can to sort of try and put any sort of positive. There isn't much, but you literally clutching at straws. But he's not good enough, and he's the backup to a guy who isn't good, who hasn't been doing it anyway. So I don't know what we expect to see. It's not like he's going to wake up one day and be good. He's not there. He's not good enough. So whoever you put in, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Cunningham, whether it's Zappe, none of them are good enough. Simple as.
No. Of course it's simple as. And yeah, you are right. The defense is tearing its absolute hair out. The last 4 weeks, the Patriots defense has given up 20 points to Washington. They gave up 10 to the Colts, 10 to the Giants, and now 6 to the Chargers. In the last 4 to 5 games, they are ranked the number 1 defense in the NFL. Who's second behind them? Only 3 points worse off than them? The San Francisco 49ers. Just shows you everything where the problem lies. More than ever before, it has always been this offense. Bill O'Brien now has to take some accountability for this. We've tried to lay the fact that Bill Belichick, him as GM has done nothing for this offense. But now we have to point the finger at Bill O'Brien here, because what the hell has he done? Because if you go to any Alabama fan from last season, when he was with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, None of the fans wanted Bill O'Brien. They didn't want him there. It's glaringly obvious we are talent devoided. But people will turn around and say, but Belichick should stay on for another season just to see how he gets on with another rookie. What, and ruin him as well? Absolutely not. You have to rip the Band-Aid off and let the wound heal properly. No way can we allow Belichick as a defensive coach is still one of the best out there. But offensively, you have got to give it to someone and let him take the reins of it. And please don't say bring back Josh McDaniels because that's just a lazy excuse.
No.
You have to go out there. Kraft said prior to the season starting that he wants to see a better product on the field. And we have got nowhere near that this season. Absolutely nowhere near that. And if that means splashing out on getting Ben Johnson from the OCR, the Detroit Lions, then maybe so be it. There's talks of Jared Mayo, who defensively has been absolutely outstanding. And apparently he was the heir to the throne of Belichick. Maybe that the last 3 or 4 games as him as the DC, he's actually been like, yeah, I can do the defensive style, but you need someone on offense to actually work this team.
Yeah, I mean, there was that stat that came out that's all over Twitter and everything about, the fact that the Patriots are the first team in like 95 years since the 38 Chicago Cardinals to, restrict 3 consecutive teams to 10 points and lose. In the same context of that stat, this season alone, teams who restrict the opposition to fewer than 10 points in a game. So we're just talking about this season alone. Teams that restrict the opposition to fewer than 10 points in a game are 54 and 3. And where's that 3 coming from? 54 and 3. And where's the 3 coming from? The last 3 weeks of the Patriots. Oh, like I said, if you were the member of that defensive unit, you are absolutely balling out. You are pulling everything out the bag, and to watch that.
And you know what? And you know what the worst thing about all of that is? We don't have our best corner, and we don't have our only pass rusher, and we are playing lights out on defense. Please, just draft O-line. Just draft O-line. That's all you need to do in this offseason. Focus on the offense, focus on special teams, and find someone that is capable of running this offense. Because if you look at it is right now in our division, the Dolphins are running away with the division. It's not even close now. The Bills look like the Super Bowl window is almost done. And the Jets, well, they're the Jets at the end of the day. They'll have one window. They'll have 1 year of Aaron Rodgers left, and they're going to go all in on it. They have to, if you're going to reset it now. But Belichick is not going to get fired until the end of the season, or he's not going to get let go, or he's not going to be traded until the end of the season, because I think there's something happening behind the scenes, which they're keeping it very tight-lipped about. But I just personally think right now that they are keeping something very, very close, the cards close to their chest here with regarding of Belichick's future. Robert Kraft, I think Robert Kraft has seen enough.
I think you are right. I think the key is Black Monday. I'm sure anyone that's watching this, listening to this, has an interest in the game, so knows what Black Monday is. But Black Monday is traditionally the day that all the coaches that are getting sacked get sacked after the last Sunday of the season. Now, I would argue that if you do not see Bill Belichick sacked by Tuesday, Wednesday latest of after Black Monday, I would argue that the reason is because he's about to be traded. The Patriots, I don't think, are going to sack him straight away because I think they're going to try and find a trade for him. So
there's three teams out there that will trade for him, and we know that's Washington, we know that's the Chargers, and David Tepper. He's a mindless idiot for the Carolina Panthers. But hey, guess what? If it's money, he will bring him in. But
I think
that organization is a mess.
So the Patriots aren't going to sack him straight off as soon as the season's finished and the Jets game's finished. They're not going to sack him because I think they're trying to put. Now, obviously, there's boxes you've got to tick. You've got to follow the Rooney Rule. You've got to make it look like you're doing a proper search and whatever else. And it will take a couple of weeks. But I think if you haven't seen Belicheck sacked by the middle of that week after the Jets game, I think it's because there is a deal being organised and sorted, and he will be traded. We've heard the rumours. The biggest one is Belichick to Washington, where he'll join up with Josh McDaniels and your mate Matty P. Whether he takes his boys with him, don't know. I mean, I don't know whether I want Mayo as head coach or whether I want Mayo as DC. He has to be one of the two. He was Bill's heir apparent, but the Patriots are broken. I don't want them to break Mayo. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's understandable. It's understandable.
As I look at it, and I look at the draft order, and I look at everything that's coming out, it's like I don't know where to go. I really don't. I don't know what the Patriots. You said about draft O-line, and that's probably what we need to do, but we can't just do it with one player. We need a whole line, and you can't get a first teamer down in the seventh round. So you somehow got to get up or come down. I don't know. It's a shit show amongst everything, all over everywhere.
It just is. And we've spoken about the head coach, spoken about the coordinators, but the GM is also the prime problem with this as well. That does fall on like Bill Belichick. Some people say Matt Gruhl, but he is the player personnel. He is not the GM. He's the player personnel. So, if you want to get rid of him, then fine, but get someone in who is ready for it. You only need to look at what Nick Caserio is doing down in Houston right now. He's done a rather smart job in Houston right now. Now they're knocking on the door, not just a playoff contention, but to win the AFC South possibly. You can see what they have built down there after the Deshaun Watson saga. What we have a problem with is the fact that we keep drafting defensive players all the time. And yes, defensive side of the ball, we've got some studs, some unbelievable players on there. But offensively, you need at least two quality receivers and a quality tight end to even have a sniff of making the playoffs with this team. And where we're sitting at number 2 now in the draft, because obviously thanks to Arizona absolutely knocking the snot out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've now destroyed their tank. So a quarterback is there for the taking. I mean, would the Bears be stupid to try and replace Justin Fields instead of giving him a proper legit weapon? I don't know. But a quarterback is there for the taking for us. And I know some people say get Marvin Harrison Jr. Some people have said Caleb Williams his mentality is a little bit weak because he was crying on the sideline. So what? He's just played his last game for He played his last game for USC. So what? It's his last game. He's upset because he's leaving the school that he went to play quarterback there. So what?
I would. What interests me is positions number 3 and 4, Arizona and Washington, because I have been adamant that Kyler Murray came back and the Arizona Cardinals were going to play him for a few weeks, show that he's fit, show that he's capable, and then they were going to put him on the bench, ice him, and say, we don't want you injured because we're going to trade you. And that's what I expected. And I kind of I'm toying with whether that's true. Now, if Arizona decide that they're going to keep Murray and they're going to go with him rather than a new QB, then Arizona at 3 would probably be the place where they would draft Marvin Harrison.
If he's still there.
Chicago are going to take a QB. I cannot see them keeping Justin Fields. So
even though Justin Fields is not necessarily the problem there.
Well, I think it'll be a fresh start. Whether he becomes their number 2 or whether they trade him for a 4th or a 5th, I don't know. But if Chicago were to get a new QB, if you were Arizona or you were Washington and you've made it clear that you're going to keep your QB, I mean, somehow I don't know. Again, it's whether Bill goes to Washington or what, but there is some potential technically for the Patriots to drop out of 2 and say, right, we don't want Drake May, and maybe Chicago want to come up from 5 to 2 to take Harrison Jr. to try and jump Arizona, who might want to do it. And there's a lot of scope over the next few weeks and free agency will be a big marker as to what people are going to do. And, and then your mock drafts start getting interesting. But the amount of repair that we need, I'm not saying we should trade down from 2 to 12. I'm not saying that. But dropping from 2 to 5 or 6 and picking up a lot of draft money would go a long way to.
You need to get at least another first rounder out of that.
Yes,
you will need to. If you drop down to 5 or 6 and you're not going to take the quarterbacks, then we better cross our fingers and pray to the heavens that Jaden Daniels from LSU is still there. All I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter doing their mock drafts is Jaden Daniels, not Drake May or Khalate Williams. A lot of Jaden Daniels now out of LSU, and trust me, he is an electrifying talent. I bet the Giants have got their at 7. I bet the Giants have got their eyes on JJ McCarthy if he's still there. If he goes down to 7, the Giants will snap their hands off. If they take JJ McCarthy, they're going to be They're going to be in what the Jets were in the Zach Wilson situation. Because all Michigan do is blanket JJ McCarthy. It's relied solely on the running game. It's relied solely on Blake Corum. It's relied solely on Donovan Edwards. It does not rely. They only let JJ McCarthy do what Tom Brady did when he was in Michigan, which was just rely on the defense, rely on the running game, and only throw the ball when we need you to. That's basically what Michigan has done with JJ McCarthy. And I have not seen so far in McCarthy's career at Michigan go down the field on a game-winning drive to actually win a game. Not a game against like Champaign, Illinois, or Bowling Green, or anybody like that. I'm actually going up against a real top school in crunch time situations and go and get that game-winning touchdown. Not seen it, which is why I don't want JJ McCarthy at the Patriots, because I think we're going to be running into that same problem as what the Jets had with Zach Wilson. But anyway, we're kind of...
I was literally about to say we could go down a rabbit hole with this. Right, okay, so I'll give you some stats for coming out of this week, and you can tell me to stop when they get too much for you. That was our 5th defeat in a row. That was our 2nd shutout of the season. That's the first time in franchise history that has ever happened.
Mm.
In the locker room after the game, the defensive players were frustrated, defeated, and ignoring the offensive players. We are ranked 32 in scoring offense with just 12.3 points per game. And just to finish on a positive note, because I am determined to, the defense allowed just 29 yards rushing at 1.21 average. That is the lowest by any opponent since the Colts in 2014, when they only averaged 1.9 points per yards per attempt. So, we are not going to win another game this year. And we've got the Jets at home, and I still don't see us winning it. That is the only game that we're possibly.
If we lose to the Jets on the final game of the season, then that could be the final nail in Belichick's coffin.
At home.
At home as well.
Steelers are without Kenny Pickett this week. I don't think that.
What a cracking matchup that's going to be. Bailey No Zip Zappe versus Mitch. I'm not a bitch Trubisky. What a game! I mean, I'm glad I'm not staying up for this.
I think I'm going to take the under on that. I don't know what the score line is, but I'm
going to 30.5. 30.5 is the line. Oh, I think everyone will take the under. Everyone's going to take the under. It's going to be. It's going to be like the same as the Colts game. It's not going to be how many points are going to be scored, as if if both offenses could actually move the bloody ball. And
Zappe was at the podium today. He was doing the QB interview today, so he's blatantly. I mean, that's an indicator that he's gonna start. So yeah, I mean.
So we got a comment here, Dean O'Brien. Good to see you, Dean. Jaden Daniels was clocked running 21.6 mile an hour. He's shifty. Lamar Jackson with a better arm. He's putting up ridiculous numbers, and only that LSU doesn't have a defense, he'd be in the playoffs. LSU don't have a defense. That's why they got absolutely squandered by Bama. But anyway, carry on, Nick.
It's all right. We could have had Lamar. I've hit that. I've played that card a long time ago. We could have had Lamar Jackson, but you've hammered that up as well.
You've hammered that nail so far down the board. It's actually gone through the board. Yeah. It's just crap. This is absolutely crap. What we're witnessing right now.
I don't know why. How can? I mean, fair play to all these people that come on and be positive. I don't know what you can say that makes it better. It's a disaster from week 1 through to whatever week we're in now, 13, 14. I've lost track, But we're 2-2 in the division. Every defeat that keeps out knocking on we're 2-9, we're 2-10. It keeps going up, but we're still 2-2 in the division.
We're 2-2 in the division. Go itself. I'm sorry, but I don't need this. I really, really don't need this. It's. I don't know what to do.
That's good enough. That's good enough for the third best divisional place. We're not, if you take the whole overall record out and you just count division record, we are actually third, not fourth. We're not fourth.
Jesus Christ! Oh dear. Yeah. The press conference at the end of that game, Mike Reese and Mike Giardi had Bill Belichick's bollocks in a vice in this one. 2 questions they asked him, and when you are winning And when you are allowed to be an arrogant bastard, then you can be the arrogant bastard and answer those sorts of questions Belichick has answered over the years. But when you are losing, that won't wash. And especially with a team now, you're 2-10. You have to start coming a bit more. You have to be a bit more assertive. But I think after watching that press conference, that is the first time I think I've actually witnessed Bill Belichick fold up his tent and leave.
Yeah, I mean,
I personally, I think he didn't like the questions that were being thrown at him because he knows that he knows there's shit coming down the pipe with this, and
yeah,
it's just Tom Cohen spoke about it very, very well on his podcast. Make sure you go check it out. He was like, this facade of what he's doing, answering these sorts of questions with these press conferences, when the offense can't even move the needle, let alone move the ball down the field, it's just absolutely stupid. And it's just, you have to start. And all his answers was we're just trying to put the best team out to try and win. You do realize this offense is absolutely inept. Rutgers could score more points in this offense, and that's embarrassing.
I think what he tried to do is when I think Mike Reesas went first, and I think he fubbed Mike Rees off with the usual. Well, we're just trying to do our best, blah blah blah. And I think he sort of like he shut Mike Rees down, and it's almost as if he got away with it. He thought he got away with it. And then Mike Giardi came in and sort of really started, hammering it in. And I think he realised then that he had to give something more. And he gave a little, but nothing that's acceptable. And it's like you said, he's always been like that, but he's always been winning. And you can do that when you're winning. But you have to take account for what you are offering, and it's not good enough, and you need to acknowledge that. I mean, the amount of empty seats there were on the top tier, obviously just above our video screens here on the back picture, that top tier, apparently there were hundreds of empty seats.
60% full.
Yeah,
60% full.
If you want to go to Foxborough, now's the time. You can get a ticket quite easily, apparently.
$50, apparently. You can get a decent ticket on the level 2 side for $50. I mean, to be honest, you might as well fucking burn petrol in traffic than rather pay that sort of money to watch that, whatever the atrocity is that office is putting out on the field. But we'll go again. We're on a short turnaround. Thursday night football on the road to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who also their offense is spluttering is probably the politest word to say. No Kenny Pickett, because just like Kenny from South Park, he died. And now they got Mitch, I'm not a bitch Trubisky under center. So both defenses are very, very good. Steelers defense is very good. TJ Watt looks like he's going to be fit to go, so that's their pass rush sorted, and that's our O line absolutely turned to mush. What is your take on this game? Because for me, I think the Patriots will be able to run the ball on them, and I think it's going to be a case of which running game can exceed the pressure, or is it just going to be a defensive stranglehold and it's whoever can get close to field goal range? Well, if that's the case, Steelers could get to field goal range, and Chris Boswell is a very reliable kicker. Unlike our rookie kicker, who apparently in practice, prior to the Chargers game, in practice on the warm-ups, he missed 5 straight field goals. 5 straight. That's alarm bells. That's alarm bells for me.
I think, for me, the best way to describe this Steelers game is look at the Chargers game, look at the Giants game, look at the Colts game, look at the Washington game, and pretty much everything you've seen over the past 4 weeks is what you're going to see again. You're going to see an offense that can't move the ball. You're going to see a defense that is doing anything and everything to keep the game competitive. And ultimately, you're probably going to see us lose by a one score, a touchdown or less. And like I said, I would on 30, whatever it was, I would take the under. I expect us to score no more than 10, and I would expect the Steelers to hit 15, maybe 18, and say thank you very much, good night, job done. So,
yeah, I mean, you're taking the under on this game. I mean, I've got absolutely no idea how this is going to pan out. I really, really don't. Luckily, I've got work Friday morning, so I'm not staying up for this game, but we will have to do a recap on the game. I was able to do it again on Monday or Tuesday, but because it was Thursday night, you might as well get it out of the way. We could just enjoy the weekend of football. But I don't see how this is going. If you want my prediction score, I'm going to say 13-3 Steelers. I think we may get a field goal at some point in this game, but a guy moving the offense down the field, nah. Not with Bailey Zappe under center. I'm sorry, but, the Zappe fan base can be all gooey and all in their feelings, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the guy is a poor man's Mac Jones. He's mobile. Cool, great. But is he accurate? Absolutely not. So I'm going 13-3 Steelers. It's not going to be a pretty game. It really ain't going to be a pretty game.
I'll go 50. I'll go 15-6.
15-6. That's not Scorigami. I think that has happened before, but anyway. Oh dear. Right. I just don't know. I just don't know where to go with this team. I really, really don't. I've not felt this dejected on my NFL team ever. And it's not nice, but we can see the flaws in this team. And I think we're just waiting now till... I think we're only like 5 weeks away now until the season is over and done with. Well, for us especially. Yeah. It's painful. It's painful. And I think we're not in hell. We're somewhere worse. We're somewhere worse than hell. Because at least in hell, you can have a little bit of fun, even though you are going to get told off for it. We're not having fun with this season. We are not. But we move on. Thursday night football against the Steelers. Let's see if this offense can do anything at all. I highly doubt it. But it is what it is. Nick, thanks for tuning. Thanks for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
I have one more thing to say. I have one more thing to say before I leave. I will say it could be worse. And you may ask how, but the way I see it, it could be worse. We could be Man United fans. But we're not. And so that's, you know what, that makes it okay.
It makes it okay, yeah.
I'm done. That's everything I've got. That's everything on my piece of paper. I'm done.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, I think we're all done. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Make sure you smash the like on the video. Hit the subscribe button where you're at it. Follow us on our social media platforms down below and on Facebook, on Twitter if you're listening to us on Spotify. And follow us on the podcast on Spotify as well. We're going to be back for a review of the Steelers game. It may be Friday. It may be after the week of football. After the weekend. We'll think about it. But for now, we're going out of here. Thanks everyone that's tuning in. Good night. God bless. and embrace the tank.